authorities have initiated a multi-state manhunt for William Butcher.
If anyone spots William Butcher or any of his known associates, Marvin Milk, Hugh Campbell, or this man, please call 1-888-0-CRIME.
The world still needs superheroes. So let's get out there. Let's take these cocksuckers down.
We are famous now.
Don't you worry. Daddy's home. Ain't you twats lucky that I showed up?
You guys fucking ready? Rousing music. Hans Zimmer. Title card. Ho ho ho! Cut to black.
That is amazing.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. We got a brand new trailer for The Boys Season 2. There's a whole bunch of footage, so we'll break it all down. There's a bunch of Easter eggs. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We'll do a new Amazon giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and let me know what you're most hyped up about for The Boys Season 2. The season is dropping September 4th, but remember, they're dropping episodes weekly this season, and there's a short movie. The Boys made a short movie that they're going to release after the season is done. I'll explain at the end of the video. But because they are dropping episodes weekly, I will be doing weekly Easter egg videos for all the episodes, so I'll explain that when we get closer to the season. There'll be way more trailers before that happens too. But the whole theme of this trailer is Homelander and the Seven declaring open war on Butcher and the Boys in the wake of the events of Season 1. Huey killed Translucent, they want to get him back for that. Then Butcher sent Homelander that message, "We're coming for you," quote unquote, packed up with his remains buried at the bottom of the ocean so that the Deep would find it and deliver it to Homelander for them. That was basically them throwing the gauntlet, then them finding out that Starlight was going out with Huey, so Homelander has been watching Starlight, so she really has to play it safe during Season 2 so that he doesn't suspect that she's really a Boys plant. But if it wasn't clear, she is still with Huey, she is still working with the Boys, informing on what the Seven is doing and their big plans. So obviously all this footage picks up after a big time jump at the end of Season 1 when Homelander took Butcher to his ex-wife's house to meet his son and see that she was still alive and hadn't contacted him in the 5 years that he believed that she was dead or missing. So if there's a big manhunt for Butcher in this trailer, as they say on the news, at some point after this moment at the end of Season 1, it means he escapes from Homelander, and the sheer fact that there needs to be a big manhunt for him means that Homelander can't find him either with all of his powers. There's some footage later of Black Noir watching footage of Butcher and the Boys, so it sounds like at some point Black Noir gets set on them. And the reason why that's an even bigger threat now is because of that opening scene from Season 2. So a little while ago I posted that scene to my channel, so I'll link it at the end of this, but it's the opening scene from Season 2 Episode 1. Is Giancarlo Esposito's character negotiating with the government, Jim Beaver's character here, getting supers in the military, what's the terms of that contract going to be, while Black Noir is busy taking down the supervillain that Homelander helped create last season. The whole reason that convinced the military to say yes to letting supers in.
I'm on page 134. Chain of command doesn't apply to other military contractors in the field. I don't see why it should apply to us.
Caprese sandwich.
Well, when they're in actual combat, whom exactly do your heroes report to?
Same person as always. Me.
Spicy chicken cilantro wrap.
Subheading 16.
So the whole setup here is just to let you know how powerful Black Noir is, and to be a kind of a funny WTF moment like, what is going on with this bunny and that little kid? Obviously that's a reference to what he does in the comics in his comic book character. If you feel like a lot of the stuff in the scenes in this trailer are hardcore, the stuff in the Boys comic book that they don't do is way more WTF. But the thing that they don't tell you during The Boys Season 1, at least explicitly, is just because some of these superheroes and supervillains have god-tier powers doesn't mean that they're good at using them. So even though Homelander has all these abilities, doesn't mean that he could find Butcher and the Boys on the spot. It also lets you know how good Butcher and the boys are at hiding out. Butcher himself is a master at manipulating people. He usually finds out what their weaknesses are and then uses those against them. But some of the lengths that he goes to and some of the methods that he uses are just as bad as what Homelander does. So that's one of the messages of the Boys series, is that everybody is kind of terrible on both sides. Everybody's doing really bad stuff. But the reason why it's so hard for the Seven to find the boys and why they need this big manhunt is that most of the superhero teams, like the Seven and Stormfront's old team Payback, which is a big Marvel Avengers Easter egg, are actually terrible at being superheroes, not because they're bad people, because a lot of them are bad people, but because they're bad at coordinating all their powers in a fight, and a lot of them don't even know how to fully use their abilities. Like, Homelander knows about most of his abilities, but he doesn't know how to use several different abilities all at the same time. There's this big scene of the Seven at a rally. There's some protesters with signs about a superhero arms race. This is all the continuation of that superhero military plotline from last week. And there was the other trailer where Stormfront is meeting Homelander for the first time while they're filming a commercial for this. So it sounds like they're trying to get the public excited about superheroes in the military. Then Homelander just turns and pops this military vet that's giving him the bird like a balloon. Like it's no big deal. The funny way they cut this trailer, too, is that Homelander's having this meeting with the rest of the Seven saying, let's take them down, but the way they cut it makes it seem like he's talking about Butcher and the boys, when he might just be talking about the fake supervillains out there that he himself helped create, like this fake threat of supervillains around the world. So it just lets you know that every member of the Seven isn't in on the secret and what's really going on behind the scenes. Black Noir clearly knows what's going on because of his mission to take down this guy in the opening scene from Season 2, Episode 1. But if it wasn't clear in terms of who has abilities around the world, where do superheroes come from international countries outside the US, the whole thing within the comic book world of the boys is that Vought American are the only people who can manufacture Compound V. There are no naturally born superheroes other than the one that was born from Homelander here, his son. That's a big revelation. But if you hear about a big superhero from, say, like China or Japan or India or some international country, it's because Vought gave them Compound V. Everybody gets their powers, for the most part, from Compound V. So if there's suddenly a bunch of supervillains popping up in an international country, the secret is that they came from Vought. You also see Giancarlo Esposito's character at their meeting here. He was Stillwell's boss last season. Now he's just taking over management duties now that they're going to be in the military, like in that opening scene where he's talking to Jim Beaver's character. The funny thing about him, too, in real life, is he's just blowing up big time. Obviously, he was amazing during Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but he's also the main villain on The Mandalorian right now, too. He'll be really big during The Mandalorian Season 2, which is coming out right after The Boys Season 2 episodes air. So if you're a big fan of him, you're going to see a bunch of him later this year. His big storyline now is getting supers in the military, but then also getting them in the White House, which is basically a metaphor for getting superheroes to take over the government eventually. That's a much bigger plot within the Boys comic book, so they might cover that in future seasons. This season is all about continuing that military plotline, bringing Stormfront onto the team, and dealing with the retaliation from the Seven against the boys. I love the boys freaking out about being famous on television. Like, holy crap, the world is after us now, but this is also kind of cool. There's a bunch of footage of Butcher coming back, just tearing through a bunch of superheroes and regular people, kicking everyone's butts. The line about Daddy's home is probably a reference to him returning after being on the DL, escaping from Homelander. Like, he really has to go off the grid so that Homelander can't find him. The whole thing with the Boys short movie that they just announced for Season 2 is that it's going to be all about Butcher and what he was doing between the events of Season 1 and Season 2. So they say that there was a bunch of extra stuff for his storyline that they shot for Season 2 that they didn't have room for in the actual episodes. So they straight up just turned it into a separate movie. That's going to air after The Boys Season 2 finale drops. I'm assuming just the week after that. So what'll happen is when they start airing episodes and I start doing Easter egg videos, I'll just remind people about that short movie. So just think of it as some really cool bonus content. Hopefully they'll do that in future seasons because it does take them a while to make new episodes. So it's just something cool to sort of tide you over, some extra content. I really love the footage of Homelander trying to teach his son how to fly by just pushing him off the roof of Butcher's wife's house. Like, there you go, kid, let her rip. Classic 80s dad move, like teaching your son how to swim by just pushing him in the pool and letting him flop around and almost drown. There hasn't been a ton more footage of Homelander with his son, but obviously this takes place relatively soon after the events of the end of Season 1, but we don't know exactly when this happens during the episodes. I'm really glad to get confirmation that Stormfront has all of her comic book superpowers too. They implied during the live stream that they did a while ago that she's got some psychic abilities and she's some sort of social media maven, but they didn't say a lot about her comic book abilities. This trailer just clarifies some of that. There's a couple of cool fight scenes that she has during this too using her powers. If you haven't read The Boys comic book, Stormfront is meant to be a parody of Shazam at DC, but also Thor at Marvel. So she can fly, she has lightning-based abilities. She's also super strong in the comics. I don't know if she has super strength on the TV show too. I'm assuming she has at least a little bit of super strength. I think she's basically supposed to be a foil for Homelander this season. There were a bunch of other big trailers and some big news that dropped in the Marvel DC world, so I'll try to do videos for everything and post all your big questions in the comments below. I'll try to address that in my future Boys videos. But like I said, there'll be more trailers and promos that they'll drop for this before the season starts in September. Everyone click here for that other brand new footage from The Boys Season 2, and click here for that deleted scene of Michael Keaton's Batman from Crisis on Infinite Earths. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.